Mr. President, last year, Congress faced a momentous choice: either watch from the sidelines as artificial intelligence reshaped our world, or make a novel, bipartisan effort to enhance but also regulate this technology before it was too late. So as Majority Leader, I convened a bipartisan working group of senators last year, Senator Rounds, Heinrich, and Young, to chart the path forward on AI in the Senate. Today, after months of discussion, after hundreds of meetings, and after 9 first-of-their-kind AI Insight forums, our bipartisan Senate working group released the first-ever roadmap for AI policy in the Senate. Our policy roadmap for AI is the first, most comprehensive, most bipartisan, and most forward-thinking report on AI regulation ever produced by Congress. Our roadmap lays out a panoply of policy priorities and guardrails that our group believes merit bipartisan consideration in this Congress and beyond. 3 words govern what we do: urgency, humility, bipartisanship. Urgency, because AI is so complex, so rapidly evolving, and so broad in its impact it covers almost every aspect of society. The longer we wait, the bigger the gap becomes. Just this week, ChatGPT released a new model that can read facial expressions and translate spoken language in real time. Humility. This is hard to do because AI is nothing like Congress has ever dealt with before. It's rapidly changing. As we mentioned, every week something new happens. It's all-encompassing, and Congress has never really dealt with it before. In areas like health or defense, we have a long track record and lots of expertise, but not so in AI because it's so new. And finally, bipartisanship, because changes that AI brings won't discriminate between left, right, and center. And we all know the only way to get things done here is bipartisanship. That means compromise by Democrats and Republicans, but certainly getting nothing done is a worse alternative. As I've always said, innovation must be our North Star. Innovation. America must take the lead in the world, continue to innovate, use the great nutrient agar of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship and doing new things and reaching out in new directions. We've been the most innovative country in the world. We should keep that. But innovation has 2 senses, 2 parts. Both are very important to realize. One I call transformational innovation, and one I call sustainable innovation. Transformational innovation is reaching the stars. It's the great stuff that AI could do. What if AI cured cancer? We got to make sure we don't stand in the way of that happening. What if AI dealt with climate change in a really strong new way? Or fed the hungry of the world? Or gave each person on earth a teacher? Senator Young mentioned this yesterday. A teacher that could just talk to them. These are great opportunities that we can't afford to miss. But we also need sustainable innovation. That means we need innovation to produce guardrails that minimize the damage that AI could bring. How do you deal with workers that might be displaced? We don't want to repeat the mistake of globalization, where globalization did a lot of good things, took 1 billion people probably out of poverty in the world, but no one paid attention to those who were hurt by globalization. We have to pay attention to bias, because many of these big systems have bias built into them, and we can't repeat that error. We have to deal with the creative community and intellectual property. So we need innovation in these areas as well to make sure that the liabilities of AI are dealt with. So we need both transformational innovation and sustainable information, in a sense, to maximize the benefits of AI and minimize the liabilities. It's no easy task. It's no easy task. But our Insight forums were designed to be balanced, with input of leaders from the industry, They operate these AI complexes. We needed to hear from them, but also leaders from civil rights and labor and the creative community sitting right next to them. And our AI forums were amazing. There were back and forths. People really didn't just make speeches, but tried to come up with questions we needed to answer and solutions to those questions. It's a difficult job, but I believe we achieved that balance in our AI forums and certainly in the roadmap. Okay? Balance is important. Now, to help move forward on both forms of innovation, of course, as I said, being our North Star, transformational and sustainable information, we recommend a $32 billion surge in emergency funding to secure America's dominance in AI. And let me underscore, this is a bipartisan recommendation. Senators Heinrich and I, of course, care about it, but so do Senators Young and Rounds, and they were quite eloquent yesterday about how we needed to spend this money or U.S. would fall way behind. Now, where do we go from here? Our policy roadmap is intended to be used by our committee chairs and ranking members as a foundation to move on good bipartisan AI legislation. It's the committees that do the legislating. That's what's always happened around here. We need our committees to continue the bipartisan momentum of the AI gang to achieve the hope of passing legislation by the end of the year. And it won't be, we don't expect every piece of AI to be addressed, every problem that's in our roadmap to be addressed. Some will lend themselves to move more quickly than others, and we're not going to hold back on some that are ready because others are not yet ready. This is a very, as I said, a difficult process that we have to approach with humility. Our AI, let me just say this, our committee chairs and ranking members are ready and eager to engage in AI. Our roadmap includes many areas of bipartisan agreement that the committees can use. And already we're making progress in the Rules Committee, which is marking up legislation today. The Commerce Committee is looking at legislation regarding AI innovation. The Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee is considering how to leverage AI in the federal workforce. The Armed Services Committee is leading the way on AI in the military, and the list goes on. So our committees are getting actively involved, which is what we want. Our policy roadmap also embraces action to protect our elections from the potential risk of AI. The Rules Committee is, well, first, the 2024 elections will be the first elections ever held in the age of AI. If we're not careful, AI could jaundice, even totally discredit our entire system of elections as we know it. So, today I am joining the Rules Committee, which is marking up 3 bills, all 3 with bipartisan support, to address AI's impact on our elections. I strongly support these bills, and I commend Senator Klobuchar and her sponsors for their bipartisan work. And that's just happening today, but we expect there will be other committees putting forth legislation in the near future. Our policy roadmap also advocates for a host of regulatory recommendations that help maximize AI's potential and minimize its risks, the risks like bias and job displacement and privacy invasion. These are all difficult issues to deal with, but move forward we must. So, our policy roadmap is an important step in AI regulation, and getting the committees here in the Congress to start figuring out the bipartisan legislation that they can move forward on is a good step. But I also plan to meet with Speaker Johnson in the near future to see how we can make Congress's effort on AI not just bipartisan, but also bicameral. So today is immensely satisfying for our bipartisan AI gang. It's been a long, long time and months, a culmination of months of listening and thinking and working on this issue. So with great sincerity and humility, I want to thank my colleagues in the bipartisan working group, Rounds, Heinrich, Young. I thank my Senate colleagues who attended our Insight Forums. Over 70 senators attended at least one forum, and many attended multiple forums. And they are beginning their work on AI through the committee process. And I thank all the staff who have put a lot of effort and a lot of hours into this policy roadmap. I have a great staff, and they have been so instrumental in getting us to the point we're at now. Congress can and won't solve every challenge AI presents today, but with this policy roadmap, we now have a foundation necessary to propel America into the age of AI. Now, on the border, three things are true about the southern border. One, the status quo cannot continue. Two, Democrats want Congress to take action. Three, the only way we'll solve this issue is with real bipartisan action, not partisan talk. Instead of just making a lot of speeches, pointing a lot of fingers, blame, 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 we Democrats want to get something done to secure our border. Democrats showed we are serious about border security when we worked with Republicans to write the strongest border security bill in a generation, to hire more border agents and asylum officers, enhance drug enforcement, fix asylum. We had the strongest border security bill in decades, ready to go here in the Senate, with a lot of support from Republicans who, when they saw it, they liked it. They said, wow, this is tough stuff. Until Donald Trump killed it to keep the issue alive on the campaign trail. He said it. He wanted chaos because it might help his election. Then he said, blame it on me. I remember when he said, blame the shutdown on me, when Speaker Pelosi and I went to his office. I don't think that's a very successful strategy, and it's certainly not what's good for America. So, this bill is such a strong bill. It's a bill that would add more than 1,500 new Custom and Border Protection personnel, 4,300 asylum officers, a bill Democrats and Republicans spent months negotiating and fine-tuning and revising. Unlike the vast majority of bills in Congress that are dubbed as border security, this wasn't a messaging bill. This was a product of months of bipartisan negotiation, written with the goal of reaching the president's desk. A bill supported by the people who know, perhaps better than anyone else, what it takes to address border security. The National Border Patrol Council, very conservative group. Their president called our bill a step in the right direction and far better than the status quo. Donald Trump's sabotage of the strongest border bill in decades makes it obvious he cares only about this issue so long as he can exploit it for political gain, not about solving the problem that Americans want solved. If Donald Trump was genuine about wanting to fix the border, if he actually believed this was an emergency, he would have supported the Senate's bill, the Senate's bipartisan bill. Still, Democrats have not walked away from this debate. We want to secure the border. We know it'll take bipartisan action in Congress, and we call on our Republican colleagues to join us to advance border security legislation, bipartisan legislation that the people demand. And finally, on nominations, Mr. President. Today, the Senate will continue processing more of President Biden's outstanding nominees. This morning, the Senate will vote on cloture on the nomination of Judge Sanket Bulsara to serve as a district judge on the Eastern District of New York. I was proud to push President Biden to nominate this amazing New Yorker and exceptionally qualified legal mind. Judge Bulsara made history in 2017 as the first South Asian American judge to serve in any court within the Second Circuit when he was appointed the magistrate judge for the Eastern District. New York's South Asian population is one of the fastest growing in our state and in our country. So I'm proud to support Judge Bulsara because he'll make our courts a better reflection of the communities they serve. And once confirmed, Judge Bulsara will represent a milestone for the Senate. He will be the 195th judge confirmed by this body since President Biden took office, and we're going to keep going. Americans deserve jurists they can trust to be fair, to be qualified, and who appreciate the human impact of their decisions. Judge Bulsara perfectly fits that noble idea. I yield the floor.